You attacked humanity. The words did not echo. They did not need to. They simply existed, heavy, absolute, and final, hanging in a vast circular chamber of the Galactic Council like an execution sentence already passed. For the first time in recorded galactic history, the Council did not speak. The chamber was enormous, carved from a single crystalline asteroid orbiting a blue-white star. Tier upon tier of floating platforms held representatives of more than 300 civilizations. Creatures of light, metal, flesh, mist, and forms that could not be described by any single sense watched the central dais in complete, paralyzing silence. At the center stood a human. Not armored, not armed, not shouting, just standing. Ambassador Elias Ward of Earth. His dark uniform was simple, unadorned except for a small emblem of a blue planet surrounded by white, Earth's mark. His hands were folded behind his back. His posture was calm. Too calm. That calm frightened the Council more than rage ever could. Because every species in the chamber knew one truth about humanity. Humans only grew quiet when the decision was already made. Supreme Arbiter Zelthran, a towering being of layered crystal and glowing veins of energy, was the first to recover enough to speak. Ambassador Ward, the Arbiter said, its voice resonating through translator fields, "This council acknowledges your presence. However, your accusation is excessive. The action taken against your species was classified as a limited corrective operation." A ripple of agreement passed through several non-human delegates. "Corrective," hissed the Vrax Dominion envoy, its insectoid mandibles clicking. "Your species expanded too rapidly, too aggressively. The Council merely approved a demonstration of force." Ward lifted his head, and when his eyes met the Council, something ancient stirred in the room, an instinct older than politics, older than spaceflight. Predators recognized resolve. "A demonstration?" Ward asked quietly. He stepped forward, boots striking the crystal floor with a sound far louder than it should have been. "Let me explain what your demonstration looked like from Earth." With a gesture, he activated the hololithic projector at the center of the chamber. The image that appeared made several delegates recoil. Earth, or what remained of it. Orbital cities burned like dying stars. Entire continents were wrapped in firestorms. The oceans boiled near impact zones where kinetic rods, Council-sanctioned weapons, had fallen from orbit at relativistic speeds. The Council chamber filled with images of chaos. A human city reduced to molten glass. A hospital collapsing as evac shuttles were destroyed mid-launch. A child's voice cut short by static. These were civilian targets, Ward said, his voice still level. No military installations. No fleet assets. No warning. The Arbiter's crystalline limbs tightened. The Council's intelligence suggested. "Your intelligence was wrong," Ward interrupted. Silence slammed back into the chamber like a shockwave. No one interrupted the Arbiter of the Galactic Council. No one, except humans. Ward continued. "You believed humanity was loud, emotional, undisciplined. You mistook our debates for weakness. Our mercy for hesitation." He looked directly at the Vrax envoy. "You saw a species that argued with itself and assumed we would never stand together." The insectoid delegate shifted uncomfortably. "And so," Ward said, "you approved a strike. A small one, you told yourselves. A lesson, a reminder of your authority." He deactivated the projection. The chamber lights brightened, revealing faces, some pale, some glowing dimmer, some flickering with stress patterns never before recorded. "You were correct about one thing," Ward said. "It was a lesson." The Arbiter tried to reassert control. "Ambassador Ward, threats will not influence Council deliberations. Humanity remains a minor power by galactic standards. Your fleet is mobilized," Ward finished calmly. The reaction was immediate. Dozens of delegates began speaking at once. Translation fields overlapped in chaotic noise. Energy beings pulsed erratically. Synthetic representatives began silent data exchanges at maximum bandwidth. The Arbiter raised a limb, restoring order with visible effort. Explain, it demanded. Ward nodded once. When your fleets crossed into soul space, you believed Earth was isolated, he said. You failed to notice what humans do best. He paused. We adapt. We unite. We remember. He tapped a control on his wrist. New projections appeared, not of destruction, but of movement. Human shipyards, active beyond anything the Council had imagined. Civilian factories retooled into weapon forges within days. Cargo haulers converted into missile platforms. Research stations pushing experimental drives beyond safety limits because safety no longer mattered. Within 72 hours, Ward said, every nation on Earth ended its conflicts. Borders became irrelevant. Resources became shared. The Council watched in stunned silence. You see, Ward continued, when you attacked Earth, you did not weaken humanity. He leaned forward slightly. You simplified us. The Vrax envoy clicked nervously. This is posturing, it said. Your species lacks the industrial base. Ward's gaze snapped toward it. Your border colonies are already dark, he said. The envoy froze. Communication arrays destroyed. Defense grids disabled. Not attacked, Ward added. Disabled. The Arbiter's glow dimmed. You retaliated? It asked. Ward shook his head. No, he said. We restrained ourselves. That word, restrained, sent a chill through the chamber. Human military doctrine, Ward explained, dictates that retaliation is emotional. He straightened. What comes next is response. A long, terrible silence followed. You came here, the Arbiter said slowly, to threaten the Galactic Council. Ward exhaled almost sadly. No, he said. I came here to inform you. He gestured around the chamber. You are no longer deciding humanity's future. The words settled like dust over ruins. You already made your choice, Ward said, when you authorized that strike, when you told yourselves Earth was expendable. He turned, facing every delegate at once. You attacked humanity. His voice hardened for the first time. And now, the galaxy will learn what that means. The Council could only stare, paralyzed, silent, and finally understanding. They had not punished a minor species. They had awakened one. The Galactic Council chamber remained silent long after Ambassador Ward's last words faded. Silence, in that place, was unnatural. For millennia, the Council had governed the galaxy through constant motion, debates, trade negotiations, threats disguised as diplomacy. Silence meant uncertainty, and uncertainty meant fear. Supreme Arbiter Zelthrand finally broke it. You claim restraint, the Arbiter said carefully. Yet your forces have already violated Council territory. This behavior confirms why corrective action was necessary. Ward did not immediately respond. Instead, he slowly turned his wrist display outward. A single symbol appeared in the air, a human military seal, marked authorized response, stage 1 complete. Violation, Ward repeated softly. No, what we did was announcement. Several delegates leaned forward. Human fleets, Ward continued, did not cross your borders blindly. Every movement was calculated. Every system entered was previously designated as Council-protected civilian space. The Arbiter stiffened. You would not dare. We dared, Ward said calmly. And we succeeded, without a single civilian casualty. That detail hit harder than any threat. You see, Ward explained, humans fight wars differently. We don't just destroy. We demonstrate capability. He gestured again, and the projection shifted. Council monitoring stations, dark. Early warning arrays, offline. Automated defense platforms, drifting powerless in space. All disabled, Ward said. Not destroyed. We wanted you watching. The Vrax envoy hissed angrily. You bypassed Council encryption. That technology is outdated, Ward interrupted. By about 8 months. Shock rippled through the chamber. That's impossible, said a synthetic delegate. Council encryption adapts in real time. Ward nodded. So do humans. He paced slowly along the central dais, his footsteps echoing. While your fleets were preparing to strike Earth, he said, our analysts were studying your systems. Your tactics. Your psychology. Ward stopped. You rely on hierarchy. Central authority. Permission. His eyes swept across the chamber. Humans rely on initiative. A hologram appeared showing dozens of human commanders operating independently, making rapid decisions without waiting for centralized approval. When Earth burned, Ward said quietly, "We did not wait for consensus." He looked directly at the Arbiter. "We acted." The Arbiter's glow flickered, an unmistakable sign of stress. "Ambassador Ward," it said, "the Council maintains overwhelming force. Your response, however impressive, cannot alter that reality." Ward smiled. It wasn't warm. It wasn't cruel. It was confident. "Overwhelming force only matters," he said, "if it can be applied." Another image appeared. Council shipyards, intact but inaccessible. Hyperlane junctions, blocked by precise human interdiction fields. Fleet command relays, jammed with human signal noise. "Your fleets are strong," Ward said, "but they're blind, deaf, and scattered." A murmur of panic spread. "You planned this," whispered a light-based delegate. Ward nodded once. "Humanity has a saying," he said. "If you want peace, prepare for war." He paused. "If you want survival," he added, "prepare for humans." The Arbiter tried one last time to reassert dominance. "The Council can still escalate," it warned. "Total war would devastate your species." Ward's expression darkened. "You misunderstand," he said. He leaned forward slightly. "Total war would devastate the galaxy." A new projection filled the chamber. Classified human simulations. Not attacks. Outcomes. Trade routes collapsing. Economies failing. Dependent worlds starving. Not from bombs, but from disrupted supply chains. "You build a galaxy dependent on order," Ward said. "Humans are very good at operating without it." The realization spread like a slow poison. "You attacked us," Ward continued, voice steady. "You killed our people. And in doing so, you forced humanity to stop asking where it belonged." He straightened. "We belong everywhere." The Council understood then. This was not a species begging for justice. This was a species informing the galaxy that the rules had changed, and humanity was done playing defense. For the first time since its founding, the Galactic Council did something unthinkable. It panicked. Emergency signals flared across the chamber. Private channels opened and closed in frantic bursts. Delegates whispered to their home systems, demanding status updates that were already outdated by the time they were sent. Supreme Arbiter Zelthran felt it clearly now. This was not a bluff. "Human fleets are repositioning," announced a synthetic intelligence delegate, its voice stripped of all emotion. "Multiple vectors. Non-standard formations." Ward inclined his head slightly, acknowledging the report. "Thank you," he said. "Transparency saves time." The Arbiter turned sharply toward him. "You coordinated this assault while standing here?" it demanded. Ward shook his head. "No," he replied. "This is coordination without me." A projection appeared. Human task forces moving through space like living things, splitting, merging, changing direction without central command. "No command vessel," the Arbiter whispered. "No single point of failure," Ward confirmed. The Council's greatest strength, centralized authority, was becoming its greatest weakness. "Human doctrine evolved," Ward continued, "because we had to survive ourselves long before we ever reached the stars." The image shifted again. Early human history, fragmented nations, constant conflict, rapid adaptation under pressure. "You see chaos," Ward said. "We see training." The Vrak's envoy slammed its limb against its platform. "This is deception. Psychological warfare." Ward turned calmly. "Yes," he said, "and it's working." Before the envoy could respond, alarms erupted throughout the chamber. Not council alarms. External alerts. The Arbiter's crystalline body flared bright red. "Report," it commanded. A dozen voices responded at once. Outer defensive ring breached. Human vessels bypassed shield corridors. No hostile fire detected. Systems are being overridden. "They're inside our infrastructure." The chamber filled with disbelief. "They didn't destroy anything," a delegate said in shock. "They walked through it." Ward spoke softly, but every word carried. "We learned a long time ago," he said, that destruction creates enemies. He paused. Control creates options. A new hologram appeared. A Council fortress station, its massive guns powered down, human marines standing calmly inside the command center. Helmets off, weapons lowered. They boarded us, the Arbiter whispered. Ward nodded. With permission. The Arbiter stared. What permission? Ward's eyes met the Arbiter's. Your own, he said. The projection zoomed in on a line of Council law, long forgotten, buried under centuries of precedent. Emergency Access Clause. Any recognized member species may intervene to stabilize Council assets in the event of internal failure. You never repealed it, Ward said. You assumed no one else would ever be capable. The realization was devastating. They're using our laws, said a delegate in horror. Yes, Ward agreed. Humans read everything. The Vrax envoy recoiled as another alert arrived. Vrax Border Command has gone silent. Ward looked at it, not with hatred but with certainty. Your war fleets are intact, he said. Your weapons untouched. Then what have you done? The envoy demanded. Ward raised one finger. We turned them off. The chamber erupted. That's impossible. Fleet cores are biologically keyed. No species can override. Humans can, Ward said simply. He activated one final projection. A human engineer, bloodied but smiling, standing beside a Vrax warship core. Adaptation complete flashed across the screen. When you attacked Earth, Ward said, voice firm, you forced us to stop wondering whether we could. He lowered his hand. Now we know. The Council fell silent again, not from protocol, but from fear. Because for the first time, the galaxy understood the truth. Humanity did not need to destroy its enemies. It only needed to take away their ability to fight. And the counterattack had only just begun. The Galactic Council had survived wars that burned stars. It had endured plagues that erased entire species from history. It had weathered rebellions, schisms, and centuries of cold conflict. But it never faced this. Not an invasion, not a coup, not even a war. It faced irrelevance. Supreme Arbiter Zelthran stood at the center of the chamber, its crystalline body glowing erratically now, no longer able to hide the strain. Around it, the once orderly tiers of delegates had dissolved into chaos. Voices overlapped. Translation fields stuttered. Ancient alliances cracked in real time. Humanity hadn't shattered the Council with force. They had shattered it with choice. Emergency motion, cried a delegate from the Orc Collective. We must revoke humanity's Council status immediately. No, shouted another. They're the only reason our systems are still functional. They violated sacred space. They stabilized it. They humiliated us. They saved us. The chamber erupted. Ambassador Elias Ward did not speak. He didn't need to. Every argument unfolding before the Council was already part of humanity's response. Divide without destroying. Expose weakness without attacking it. Let fear do the work. The Arbiter raised both crystalline limbs, channeling every authority it had left. Order, it commanded. Slowly, reluctantly, the chamber quieted. Zelthran turned toward Ward. Humanity stands accused, it said, voice trembling despite its effort to remain neutral, of destabilizing galactic governance. Ward nodded once. Correct, he said. We are. A collective gasp rippled through the chamber. You admit it? Demanded a reptilian delegate. Yes, Ward replied calmly. Because governance that authorizes genocide deserves to be destabilized. That word, genocide, hit like a supernova. You call the strike on Earth genocide? The Arbiter asked. Ward's eyes hardened. When kinetic weapons are dropped on population centers, he said, when evacuation corridors are targeted, when survival infrastructure is deliberately destroyed. He paused. There is no softer word. Several delegates looked away. Others stared at the floor of their platforms, suddenly very interested in patterns they had ignored for centuries. The Council does not accept moral lectures from a minor species, snapped the Vrax envoy, though its voice lacked its earlier confidence. Ward turned to it slowly. Minor, he repeated. He gestured, and the chamber lights dimmed. A new projection filled the space, this one different from the others. It showed the galaxy, but not as the Council had mapped it. Trade routes pulsed in human blue. Communication networks glowed with human encryption. Logistical chains, fuel, food, medicine, ran through human control hubs. You built an empire on interdependence, Ward said. Humans simply mapped it faster than you did. The Arbiter felt something cold settle deep within its core. How long? It asked quietly. Ward answered without hesitation. 23 years, he said. From first contact. Shock thundered through the chamber. That's impossible, said a data entity delegate. Humans lacked the computational capacity. We lack permission, Ward corrected. He looked around the chamber. So we didn't ask. The silence that followed was heavier than any before. You spied on us, accused a crystalline being. Yes. You manipulated trade flows. Yes. You infiltrated council systems. Yes. Ward didn't deny anything. Because history taught us something, he continued. Power never belongs to those who claim it. It belongs to those who understand it. The Arbiter's glow dimmed. You planned this eventuality, it said. Ward nodded. We planned for survival, he replied. Your attack merely accelerated the timeline. A new alert appeared, this one different. Council member withdrawal notice. Tellurian Consortium. Another followed. Council member withdrawal notice. Silene Harmony. Then another. And another. What is happening? A delegate cried. Ward didn't answer. A Tellurian representative rose from its platform. We will not die for your pride, it announced. Human forces protected our supply lanes when yours failed. A Silene envoy added. Humans restored our hospitals after the strike destabilized our region. Without demanding tribute. The chamber fractured audibly now. Platforms shifting, delegates standing, ancient unity collapsing. You're abandoning the council? The Arbiter demanded. We're abandoning you, came the reply. Ward watched silently. This was the true counterattack. Not fleets. Not weapons. Loyalty. The Vrax envoy snarled. You think humans will protect you forever? It hissed. They will rule you. Ward finally stepped forward. Humans do not rule, he said. He met every gaze. We partner. A murmur spread. Hope, fear, disbelief, all tangled together. What do you want? The Arbiter asked at last, its voice barely holding together. Ward answered without hesitation. Recognition of Earth as a sovereign equal, he said. Immediate cessation of hostile operations. And restructuring of this council. So no species can ever again decide another's extinction with a vote. The Arbiter stared at him. You are asking us to dismantle ourselves. Ward nodded. Yes. The chamber trembled. Not physically, but politically. And if we refuse? The Arbiter asked. Ward's voice was calm. Then humanity continues stabilizing the galaxy without you. That was the moment it broke. Not with violence, not with explosions, but with understanding. The Galactic Council was no longer the center of power. It was simply another room where humans happened to be standing. And the galaxy would never be the same again. The Galactic Council did not fall in a single moment. It unraveled, slowly at first, then all at once. After the withdrawal notices began flooding the chamber, panic replaced authority. Delegates who once spoke with absolute confidence now whispered urgently into private channels, demanding protection, alliances, anything. Supreme Arbiter Zelthran tried to restore order. This council remains the legal governing body of the galaxy, it declared. But the words fell hollow. A new alert appeared. Council security forces standing down. The Arbiter froze. That is not authorized, it said. Ambassador Ward finally spoke again. They're not disobeying you, he said calmly. They're choosing survival. A projection expanded, showing Council security fleets receiving the same message across multiple systems. Human task forces present. Hostile action not advised. No shots fired. No threats issued. Just reality. They didn't even engage us, reported a council commander over open channels. They simply arrived. Everywhere. The galaxy was seeing it now. Human ships exiting hyperspace simultaneously across hundreds of systems. Not massed into intimidating armadas, but distributed, precise, impossible to ignore. Humanity wasn't surrounding the council. They were embedded in the galaxy. A delegate from a minor trade species stood abruptly. "We motion to suspend all council military authority," it said. Another delegate shouted, "Seconded." The arbiter turned sharply. "You cannot." "We can," came the reply. "And we will." Votes began flashing across the chamber. Suspend military authority, passed. Freeze retaliatory operations, passed. Open negotiations with Earth, passed. Each vote hit like a hammer. The council was voting itself out of power. The Vrak's envoy lashed out. "This is human manipulation," it roared. "They are controlling you." Ward didn't deny it. "We are influencing outcomes," he said. "You've done the same for centuries. The difference is, we're visible about it." The Vrak's envoy received an alert. Its mandibles went still. "What is it?" demanded another delegate. The envoy's voice dropped. "Our homeworld has signed the Soul Accords." The chamber exploded into noise. "You didn't authorize that," someone shouted. "They bypassed the council," another cried. Ward nodded. "Human diplomats spoke directly to your civilian governments," he said. "We showed them the recordings, the strike orders, the votes." Silence followed. "You see," Ward continued, "people don't like learning they were considered expendable." The arbiter's glow dimmed to a faint shimmer. "You've destroyed the council," it said. Ward shook his head. "No," he replied. "We revealed it." He gestured to the chamber. "A system that survives only by hiding its decisions deserves to be seen." Outside the chamber, the galaxy was changing by the hour. Independent worlds aligned themselves with human protection networks. Old rivalries froze overnight. Pirates vanished, not hunted, but cut off from fuel, trade, and data. Humanity wasn't enforcing peace with guns. They were enforcing it with presence. A final alert appeared in the council chamber. Galactic Council Central Authority dissolved. No alarm sounded. No explosions. Just a quiet acknowledgement that something ancient had ended. Supreme Arbiter Zelthran looked at Ward one last time. "What happens now?" it asked. Ward answered honestly. "Now," he said, "the galaxy learns to govern without deciding who deserves to die." The Arbiter closed its crystalline eyes. The council chamber, once the heart of galactic power, became just another room, and humanity walked out of it, not as conquerors, but as the species that had been attacked, and refused to disappear. The galaxy waited, not in peace, not in hope, in fear. Across thousands of systems, worlds that had never cared about Earth now watched human signals with silent attention. Trade lanes rerouted themselves. Defense fleets powered down, unsure whether to prepare for war or surrender. Humanity had stepped onto the galactic stage, and everyone was asking the same question. What will humans do now? Ambassador Elias Ward stood before the fractured council one last time. "You expect revenge," he said, his voice carrying across the chamber. "You expect us to become what you feared." He let the words settle. "We understand that fear," Ward continued, "because we've lived with it." A projection appeared, not of ships or weapons, but of Earth, rebuilt cities, children playing under repaired sky domes, memorial walls stretching for kilometers, names carved in every human language. "This is what you attacked," Ward said softly. "Not armies, not fleets. Home. You killed our people," he went on. "And yes, humanity is capable of answering that with destruction." The council flinched. "But that is not our answer." A new projection filled the chamber. Human relief fleets moving through damaged systems. Medical ships docking at alien worlds. Engineers repairing power grids shattered by council infighting. "You taught us something," Ward said. "That power without restraint creates monsters." He met the council's gaze. "We refuse to become one." The Vrak's envoy scoffed weakly. "This is performance," it said. Soft words to high domination. Ward turned. "When Earth burned," he said quietly, "our first launches were not warships." He paused. "They were hospital ships." The chamber went still. "Humanity's response," Ward continued, "is not conquest." Another image appeared, galactic accords forming, New networks replacing old hierarchies. It is responsibility. Several delegates looked stunned. You could rule us, whispered a delegate of light. No one could stop you. Ward nodded. That's true, he said. Then he shook his head. But humans learned long ago that ruling through fear creates endless enemies. He straightened. So we choose something harder. The arbiter, weakened but still listening, asked the question everyone feared. And if another species attacks you again? Ward didn't hesitate. Then we will stop them, he said. A pause. Completely. The word echoed. Humanity offers this galaxy a choice, Ward said, raising his voice for the first time. Stand together. Protect civilians. Resolve conflict before it becomes extinction. His gaze hardened. But understand this. He leaned forward. If you ever again raise a weapon against Earth, against humanity, the chamber held its breath. We will not ask for votes. Silence. We will not wait for permission. Silence. And we will not stop until the threat no longer exists. No one challenged him, because this was not a threat. It was a boundary. A final projection appeared. The soul accords, open for signature. One by one, systems signed. Some out of gratitude, some out of fear, some because they finally believed someone would protect them. Humanity did not celebrate. There were no cheers, only work, because the galaxy was broken, and humans, once attacked, once underestimated, had chosen to become its shield. History would later struggle to name this moment. Some called it the fall of the Council. Others named it the Soul Reckoning. Among humans, it was remembered more simply. The day the galaxy learned the cost of attacking Earth. In the weeks following the Council's collapse, no great battle followed. That fact alone terrified the galaxy more than any war ever had. Human fleets did not advance deeper. They did not conquer territory. They did not demand tribute. They stayed everywhere, at trade junctions, near fragile worlds, along hyperlanes once ruled by fear. Silent, watching, present. For the first time in galactic history, peace was not enforced by threat alone, but by certainty. Certainty that if violence returned, humanity would answer it without hesitation. On Earth, reconstruction continued day and night. Cities rose where ruins still smoked. Atmospheric stabilizers hummed above scarred continents. Memorial towers stood in every major population center, names engraved endlessly. Some soldiers, many civilians. Humanity did not hide its wounds. It remembered them, because humans had learned something crucial across their violent history. What you forget, you repeat. Ambassador Elias Ward stood before the newly formed Galactic Assembly, no longer a council of rulers, but representatives bound by transparency. No secret votes, no closed chambers. Every decision recorded, every consequence owned. You are afraid, Ward said openly. No one denied it. You fear humanity, he continued. Not because of our weapons, but because of our restraint. A murmur moved through the chamber. You attacked us believing we would respond emotionally, that we would lash out, burn worlds, prove you right. Ward paused. You were wrong. A projection appeared, one final image. A line of text translated into every known language. Earth will defend itself. Earth will defend others. Earth will not rule. This is humanity's doctrine, Ward said. Simple, clear, non-negotiable. A delegate from a former council power rose cautiously. And if humanity disagrees among itself? It asked. Ward smiled faintly. We already do, he said. Constantly. Soft laughter rippled through the chamber. But when Earth is threatened, Ward continued, voice firming, there is no disagreement. He let the silence speak. The galaxy adapted quickly, because it had to. Species that once relied on council fleets learned cooperation. Worlds that survived through exploitation found those paths closed. Aggressors discovered something far worse than retaliation. Irrelevance. Human trade networks bypassed them. Human engineers declined contracts. Human diplomats stopped answering calls. No bombs fell. Empires starved anyway. Children across the galaxy began learning new history, not about humans as conquerors, but as the species that had been tested, and responded with control. Humanity did not become gods. It became something more unsettling. A constant. Years later, long after the scars on Earth had faded, a young alien historian would ask a human veteran a question that echoed across time. "Why didn't you destroy them?" the historian asked. "You could have." The veteran looked up at the stars. "We wanted them to remember," she said. "And destruction is easy to forget." She pointed toward the dark space beyond. Fear fades. Respect lasts longer. Humanity continued to explore, to argue, to fail and try again. But one thing never changed. Every species now taught the same lesson to its young. Do not test Earth. Do not threaten humans. Do not confuse their silence for weakness. Because once, long ago, the galaxy had made that mistake. And the stars themselves had gone quiet when humanity answered. You attacked humanity, and the galaxy learned. Some lines, once crossed, are never forgotten.